We are in store for a cracking tie between PSG and Arsenal, 180 minutes away from one of these two sides to advance to the final in Munich. Will Arsenal do it? Will they advance to their second ever UCL final, or will PSG advance to their second ever UCL final? Welcome to the preview and prediction for the first semi-final matchup. We will have a separate video for the Inter and Barcelona. I had to separate the two videos, people. There's a lot to discuss when it comes to these two matches. So get your prediction in the comments down below. Who will advance to the final in Munich? Will it be Paris Saint-Germain or Arsenal? So there's many ways to break this down. Obviously, these two teams met earlier on in the league phase of the UCL. Arsenal won 2-0. I rewatched the game last week. Arsenal completely dominated the game. They gave nothing to PSG. Yeah, PSG hit the post with João Neves, but overall their attacking play was completely nullified by Arsenal's defense. Now, people will give the reasoning that PSG have completely transformed their form, their style of play since that matchup. And I would say yes, PSG have completely transformed in the way of how they press, how direct they are when they get the ball, and the way they control games. But to counteract that statement about PSG improving, I think Arsenal are getting better and better. They are finding the form at the right time of this season when it comes to this matchup, because Arsenal haven't lost a game since I think February 22nd. They dominated Real Madrid. They destroyed PSV in the knockout stages of the UCL so far. Arsenal have scored 14 goals and have only conceded 4 goals. Arsenal are in such good form. They're finding a beautiful blend of the attacking style and defensive shape that we know Arteta has built under this team. But there seems to be a mentality switch for this Arsenal team. Many Arsenal fans before that Real Madrid matchup were fearing that, oh man, we are so light in the back. Our attack is faltering at the moment. But the Arsenal players and the manager, they had different ideas. And I think that's now a real mentality switch from the players, the manager, and now I think the fans have a real belief in this team again. Because it's been a difficult season for Arsenal. They've dealt with many injuries. They've been knocked out of the FA Cup, League Cup, not in the Premier League title race anymore. So for Arsenal, the Champions League is everything for them. And with that Real Madrid matchup, we saw the real emergence, and I mean real emergence of Declan Rice. He completely dominated the midfield without the ball, with the ball, on set pieces. That was his two best games in the Arsenal kit, and he needs to continue those performances going up against a midfield of Vitinha, João Neves, and Fabian Ruiz. Then we saw excellent play from Lewis Skelly and Timber. Timber this season, the stocks are rising, people. The stocks are rising like crazy, and Lewis Skelly, yeah, those stocks are not so low at the moment. They're at medium level, but they could get even higher and higher. So invest right now on Lewis Skelly. You got to give credit to Jakub Kiwior, Saliba. So defensively, Arsenal are solid. They know what they need to do. They need to nullify PSG out wide with either Kvara, Barcola, or Dembele. Now, people will talk about Arsenal in the attacking phase. How will they get the goals? You know, whether it's Saka, Martinelli, Mikel Merino, who's been stepping up big time recently. But of course, Partey is suspended for the first leg in this tie. So maybe in the first leg, we're going to see a midfield of Merino, Ødegaard, and Declan Rice. And I think that will work out well. And then Trossard in the false nine. But Saka, I mean, those two games against Real Madrid, he absolutely sent Alaba to the retirement home. I know Alaba has Kenny Smith knees right now, and God bless him because he's still going out there at his age and he's had a fantastic career. But Alaba looked like an old man versus Saka. I mean, Saka just tormented him over and over again, and Saka's going to have a brilliant game going up against one of the best left backs in the world in Nuno Mendes. So Arsenal have all the pieces to nullify PSG. Good defensively, counter-attacking. We saw a better counter-attacking team against Real Madrid, and that's what Arsenal are going to have to do. But at home, you expect Arsenal to take the game to PSG. Exactly how they did against Real Madrid. They knew Real Madrid, they were faltering, they knew they were vulnerable, and Arsenal said, cool, we're going to take advantage of it. They were hammerhead sharks in the Caribbean Sea, and they smelt the blood. They went for it. And that's exactly what Arsenal have to do in this matchup. They know PSG are a very good attacking team, very good in possession. So how do you disrupt that? You got to take the game. High pressing, win the ball back high up the field, counter-attacking quickly with the likes of Martinelli, who was really good against Real Madrid. And we saw PSG in that Aston Villa tie, especially in the second half, the first 25 minutes, flustered. Even the Liverpool second half away at Anfield, PSG were not great. I mean, Liverpool had a couple of chances in the game. Liverpool took the game to PSG. And you saw PSG kind of flustered in that situation. And overall, this season in the Champions League, Arsenal have lost a grand total of 1 game. And that 1 game was to Inter. And I think Arsenal had 20 corners in that game. They weren't really dangerous on the set pieces. So Arsenal overall this season in the UCL have been brilliant. They're going to have to continue that form against the PSG side. And right now, PSG are trying to collect all the Infinity Stones of the Premier League. They beat Liverpool. They beat Aston Villa. and one more Infinity Stone is Arsenal. And people can be critical of PSG in the way they played it against Aston Villa in the second half, but overall for about 145 minutes, PSG dominated Aston Villa. They were 5-1 up in the tie, looking like they were going to cruise to victory and cruise to the semi-final. If PSG won that tie over Aston Villa with a 5-1, 6-2 aggregate scoreline, I think people would have more praise for PSG. But they saw how they kind of capitulated in that second half against Aston Villa. And so what really happened? Well, PSG just lost complete control of the game. They didn't keep possession well. Vitinha had a poor game. João Neves couldn't get involved. And you just saw the team absolutely lose it mentally. They didn't know how to combat Aston Villa's high pressing, the directness of Aston Villa. After Asensio had that one missed chance, then PSG once again controlled the game and were looking dangerous on the counter-attack. I think that's the introduction of Desiree Doué into the game. So if you're Luis Enrique, you got to go with the Fab 3 right now. You got to go with Dembele, of course, Kvara, of course, and Desiree Doué. PSG have the weapons to hurt Arsenal. You're going to have a brilliant game from Dembele. If Dembele continues this form, he's up there for the Ballon d'Or, but he's going to have to keep performing because Kvara is going to have a very tough game against Timber. Timber has locked down many forwards this season, but we know the brilliance of Kvara. He's going to have a better game than what he showed at Villa Park, because I kind of feel bad for Kvara because he was mostly down the right, and I'm like, Kvara is just brilliant on the left wing. Keep him mostly there. We know the fluidity of the front three for PSG. They're very direct, very technically gifted, but they're going up against a very good Arsenal defense. But one thing that PSG have compared to Real Madrid that Arsenal are going up against, PSG, they know their identity. They know exactly where the movement of each player is at. Whereas with Real Madrid are just a bunch of kids who met up at a pickup game in some random park and said, hey guys, try and figure it out. No, Luis Enrique and his team, they know exactly what they want to do. Whether it's Hakimi or Nuno Mendes kind of inverting into the midfield, or sometimes Hakimi doing an overlapping run on the right side, Nuno Mendes doing an overlapping run on the left side. PSG have various ways to attack the opposition, and that's what makes them a dangerous team. And on the counter-attack, yeah, they are the most frightening team right now. The speed. I mean, we saw the speed of Dembele, Barcola, Nuno Mendes, Hakimi highlighted in that Aston Villa game. That second goal that PSG scored against Villa, I mean, what a brilliant team goal from them. The one thing PSG have got to figure it out is when they feel the adversity, how do you overcome it? You know Arsenal are going to keep possession. You know Arsenal are going to have the chances in this game. Who will be the leader in the back line? Marquinhos has to do a better job. Pacho, who had a really rough game against Villa but made a crucial block at the end, those two got to step up for PSG. Some individual battles to watch in this tie, no doubt, is Nuno Mendes versus Saka. That is going to be absolute cinema to see. Can Saka get the best of Nuno Mendes? How will Nuno Mendes defend against Saka while also trying to go forward? Also Vitinha going up against Ødegaard, João Neves possibly going up against Declan Rice, and Kvara up against Timber. I mean, there are so many good individual battles, such good forward play, such good defensive play from Arsenal specifically. PSG can defend well, but it's just about a mentality thing for me when it comes to them defensively. And two very good goalkeepers in David Raya and Donnarumma. This is very tough. 50-50 tie, like I said at the beginning of this video. Arsenal have a good momentum right now in the Champions League. I don't really care about league form right now. For both of these teams, everything is the UCL. PSG have wrapped up the Ligue 1. Arsenal are not in the Premier League title race. It's all about the UCL right now for both teams. And both managers, Arteta, Luis Enrique, they know what's at stake here. For Arteta, if he could win a UCL, all the injuries that Arsenal have suffered this season, it would be a great job by him. For Luis Enrique to reach a UCL final after Mbappe leaving the club, I mean, Luis Enrique's stock will go crazy. And it's fascinating to think how will both managers approach this tie. I think for Arteta, he's going to use the exact same tactics as he did against Real Madrid in the first leg, and the same exact tactics as he did in the second leg against Real Madrid. Take the game to PSG at home, while in the second leg, sit back and be clinical on the counter-attack. While Luis Enrique will always try and play his style of football away from home, at home. It doesn't matter. It could be on Pluto, Mars, wherever, Amazon. Always PSG want to control the game, get Vitinha on the ball as many times as possible. So it's a very interesting stylistical matchup for both managers. You have a very good defense in Arsenal with a clinical attack at the moment, while PSG are a force going forward, can be a liability defensively, and a very good midfield. So what gives? Which team will advance to Munich? I think for me, I think the first leg will tell me everything. If Arsenal can win that first leg, they can be defensively solid in the second leg and frustrate PSG. Whereas if PSG get a draw away at London, I think that will give them a massive psychological boost in the home leg in Paris. I think this is going to be fireworks. I think this is going to be so tantalizingly close between the two teams. There's small margins, people, but that's usually the UCL. The UCL is always defined by the small margins. So my prediction, I think Arsenal are going to do it. I think Arsenal will advance to the UCL final, which is kind of crazy to say with all the injuries they have suffered. But there's something about this team right now with the momentum they're building, and there's no disrespect to PSG. If PSG collect all the Infinity Stones of the Premier League teams, beating Man City, beating Liverpool, beating Aston Villa, beating Arsenal, then those two YouTubers who are talking about this team couldn't finish top 4 in the Premier League, yeah, you might want to delete that video. And I wouldn't be surprised if PSG advance. Like I said before, this is 50-50 tie. I just have a feeling that Arsenal are going to do it, and they're going to advance to the UCL final. Should be a great matchup though, people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you think will advance to Munich? Which individual battle are you most looking forward to? Is it Timber versus Kvara, Saka against Nuno Mendes? Remember to follow me on all the socials. You can find those links in the description down below. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Next up, Inter versus Barca video. Adios.